Hey there. We're going to pull a bridge plate on this, what is it, 62 D18. This is the one I did a triage on. And this one has had some experimental stuff done to it, like herringbone binding. The bridge is way off on this guitar. It's as bad as the 70s, maybe worse. So first thing I did was I pulled the bridge, and I found out that it was glued on with hide glue, and they had used a lot of hide glue, and hide glue does not work that way. Hide glue has absolutely zero gap filling properties, and when you pull a bridge or a neck, there should not be any glue like that. I mean, there was glue squeeze out. This is nasty. This is also an Indian rosewood bridge, and a 62, I believe it's a 62. D18 should be befitting a Brazilian rosewood or Madagascar or Granadillo. And we're going to put probably Madagascar on this one. So I had to pull it. Now, the problem is the holes are in the wrong spot. Bridges are wrong. It's got a good bridge plate in it, but it's almost 1/4 of an inch off. So what I've done, here we go. I'm talking fast here because I've got stuff happening, and this is real live. This wash rag has been soaking, and it's cold. We're gonna set it on the top here. I'm gonna put this over here. I gotta get my bag. We're moving fast here, so I may get things out of context or order a little bit. I've got the first time I've done this in this shop too, by the way, so I think I'm ready to go. So it's gonna be my meal. I've got my irons heating up on this hot pad. I've had that sponge in here soaking, and we're going to take a look inside at the bridge plate right now. Here we go. Alright, the bridge plate was soaked with sponge, and the sponge is to both humidify the bridge plate so that when I hit it with heat, it will keep the top from splitting. And it also softens up the glue a lot if you let it sit. I let it soak for several hours, so I went to lunch. Getting my junk together here. How's it look? I could have soaked a little bit better, but I see the glue's got a moist line on it, and I'm hoping, looks like hide glue. So it's going to take a lot of heat. Moisture is going to be key on this. And there's some moisture on the top. You might have seen that, but that's not going to cause any issues. It'll be fine. Okay, here we go. I got a clamp. And I don't clamp it, but I use this to hold it. I've already shown video of this happening inside, so we're not going to do that today. I'll show you, stick the camera in there as we're doing it. What you're going to see, it's just a process like this, and you're going to get to experience this with me. So this looks pretty hot. It's red. Feels hot. I've got a heat gun next door that I could go get. Maybe I will. So I'm going to set this on here. And I just use the clamp to hold it, you see. I do have heat blankets, and I have used the heat pads blankets to do this. I don't like them as much because they're such a pain in the butt to get in there. You got the nozzle sitting here and all this stuff, and I don't feel like I have as good a control over the heat. If it gets too hot and I need to get it out of there, I could just pull this out right now. And I just feel like this just works better for me. But if you feel comfortable using heat blankets, have at it. So I'm heating this thing up. And I'm watching the moisture change because the moisture is fading away. The moisture that's on the bridge plate is fading away as that heat hits it. And what I'm going to do on this one, I did not cut it in half because it's a small bridge plate. And it's too bad. It's a nice maple plate, but they just don't have it in the right place. It's almost like this neck was shortened or something, but I went through all that. And I'm not sure why this is so much in the wrong place. I don't see much evidence of that. Okay, where was I? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to heat the whole front of the bridge plate, and then I'm going to use a chisel, and I'm going to go in there and I'm going to try and crack the bridge plate right on the pins. And I brought my chisels with me from the other shop, and I also took this chisel And I was using this for a popsicle brush, and it worked great. And it's a chisel, and then I sawed it off right here, so that it's just a handheld, super short chisel. You need the shortness to get in there. Okay, I can feel some heat coming through here, so I can feel the heat coming through the pinholes right here. Let's take a look at this. See how it's going. Back over there. It's got a little bit of burn on it, which is good. That's what I want to see. That's what you want to see, is a little bit of burn mark, a little scorch mark. That means it got pretty good heat. I like to use a lot of heat fast. I don't like to use a little bit of heat slow. It just works better for me. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to see how that front... Oh, yeah, shoot, it's falling off. And that's the problem with hot hide glue. Shoot, the whole bridge plate just came off. Oh, we got lucky. But that shows you how weak that was, man. Look at that. Pulled that whole plate off on the first shot. And just a little bit of fuzz. Wow. And it's warped. Well, that is great. That makes me happy that I didn't have to sweat and burn and twist and all that stuff. So, okay, that's pretty hot. I'm going to stick this in here, get it cooled off. Fantastic. That might have been the easiest bridge plate I've ever pulled. All right, what I was going to say, that tells you one of the disadvantages of hot hide glue. You have to get the wood surface warm, and that's hard to do inside of a guitar. Back in the day when I used to use hot hide glue myself, I'd stick a light bulb in there, and I'd stick a 100-watt light bulb and on a foil base, and I would heat it up, and I was never confident that I had it warm. And you'd heat the bridge plate up, and a lot of times the bridge plate would do that and warp because of the heat, you know. I just was never confident. For me, fish glue is way superior to hot hide glue for something like a bridge plate, where there really isn't much stress on it. There's no pulling. It just needs to be stuck. And fish glue is aggressive. It's sticky. It's very good. I don't know where I would... Some people don't trust fish glue on a bridge. The only time I would not trust it on a bridge is when I definitely wouldn't trust hot hide glue either. I just don't think hide glue is a very good glue for repairing bridges, because there's always a little bit of fuzz and stuff in there, and it's just not my favorite choice. I want a more aggressive glue like Luthier's Mercantile instrument glue, and I want something like that. I want to rebuild the bridge sheet sometimes. Okay, we got that cooled off. Set this aside real quick. This is the wash rag, just wash rag. Man, I am so happy about that. That thing didn't give me any trouble. I'm looking for a towel. Wipe the water off the top here. Water won't hurt anything, you know, in the wood. It just humidifies it up. I am going to dry it up in here a little bit. We're going to take a look at the bridge sheet now. Because this has been removed at least twice now, because that's not the original bridge, we should take a close look at this bridge sheet and see what kind of condition it's in. Because I have a whole other video on one that's a chewed up bridge sheet. This one's not bad, but let's get down here and take a look at it. I'm going to move the camera down. Sorry about this. If I can remember, I'll edit this out. There we go. Now we're more on level with it. So here's the bridge sheet, and I noticed when I was pushing on it, see, it's pretty soft. You can see that flexion. It's lost some wood in here. The inside's great. Yeah, that's super soft. Man, look at that. I'm pushing from the inside. And my finger is right on the pin here, right behind the pin. Here's my finger, okay? So you can see where I'm pushing. Let's back up a little bit. Now I'm back over here. And that's still really soft. This is stiff. See? Watch the difference between here and here. Pretty soft on the bass side. It's pretty stiff over on the treble side, possibly because the tone bars right here, that might be supporting it enough. It's pretty soft. I'm thinking about putting a spruce patch in there like I did on the other one that was chewed up. I don't want to get in the habit of doing that just because it's soft, but it is soft. It's super soft, and we don't want to have any trouble with it bellying, and it'd be so much better just put a little bit of extra spruce on the inside right there, and stiffen it up. And I'm pushing again here from the top, and you can see how soft that is right there. The reason it's soft is because it's caving in right here, so there's no support in front of my thumb. It's not that it's necessarily soft here, but it's soft right here, and so it's just caving in right there. And your bridge plate would take care of some of that, but I think you'd be better off with a piece of light, stiff spruce here instead of using a big bridge plate, which is heavy. Maple, the trouble with maple is it doesn't have a good grain to it. So when I use a rosewood bridge plate, it's got a nice, strong, firm grain. It's strong. So I'd much rather use like a piece of spruce over here and then a small bridge plate, you see, than try to cover all this up with a stiff, heavy bridge plate. Maple doesn't have a very good strength to it. It's hard this way. Black locust has got a pretty good strength, but you're running the grain. Again, you're running the grain this way on a bridge plate, and so it doesn't have much strength this way, which is where we need it. And I could take the bridge plate and I could orient it like this so that it would strengthen it. That's a possibility, but you still have to go back here with the bridge plate. So I'm going to think about this a little bit, what I want to do. It's just showing it's soft right there, you know. It's just pushing in, and that's right on the bass strings. So this guitar is going to probably tend to belly right there. Nice over here. It's got some wear right here. Like hand wear. I can see it here. Let's see if we can get some light. Let's get that out of there. I'm going to check for loose braces here in a minute too. There we go. Get that out of there. Watch the light reflection right here. I'm going to try to catch it. Let's see if we can get that on camera. I'm not sure if it's going to come, but watch it. Behind the bridge. There it is. There. See that kind of matted spot right there? That's where it's soft. Right there. And so I wonder if that's from somebody's hand rubbing. There's no way they couldn't, you know. Also, it's a little bit soft because it's wet. So you got to be aware of that. As it gets, that's how you bend sides, right? You bend sides by heat and water, and you can bend the side here, and all of a sudden it's not soft anymore. So you do have to be kind of aware of that it was hot and wet, and that might be some of the softness. I don't know. I think that's stiffening up. We'll leave it alone for a little bit. Let me think about it. The inside's good. Let's go look at the inside. Now that we have the plate off, we need to look at that. And I really thought I saw some places where the pinholes have been fixed. Let's go look. Get the light over here so you can see good. No, it looks good. Looks good. Here's what it looks like now with the bridge plate off. Here we go. This is fun. Okay, let's look at the braces here. Get my camera for you. Let's straighten it a little bit. There's the brace back there, and I think you can see it. I'm seeing it. Look at the white glue line. That white glue line back there means tight bond. So that means that the braces were put on with tight bond, which I think that's consistent with this age. I'm not sure it's a 62. I can't remember what year it is. I get it straight when I do the title. So I'm going to probe the braces and make sure that nothing came loose, and put this other one, put all these tools up, get them out of the way. That's off. Well, that was pretty nice for my first bridge plate in Los Alamos. I hope they all go like that. I watched the movie Oppenheimer last night, and it was kind of cool. You're aware of the history in Los Alamos here, you know. But watching it as a movie, a dramatized movie, I actually recognized a lot of the places that were in the movie, you know, Fuller Lodge and places like that. They're actually just right across the street right here. So I'm right in the middle of Los Alamos. And what was interesting to me when I started reading up on it is that the research labs that are in the movie Oppenheimer are actually right here in what is now downtown. And so Trinity Street, Canyon Street, the lab is actually right here. And so our building was probably sitting in a radioactive waste pile for all I know. But Oppenheimer's house is 2 blocks that direction. It's kind of cool, looking at the history of places like that. But again, I recognize a lot of the places in the movie. And they were filming here, I think March 22nd. And I'm not sure where I was, 22nd. I was probably racing dirt bikes then. I wasn't spending so much time at the building. I'm feeling for braces here, using these feeler gauges. These are from a set of feeler gauges, and I stick them together between pieces of wood. They're great. This side right here with the little hole is really good for pushing glue because it'll catch glue and pull it better than the flat side. But they're super for feeling for braces. This is thick. This is, I think, a 0.010 of an inch, quite a bit stiffer. And so far, so good. I'm not feeling anything loose. You know, I had it soaking with water, and we put heat on it. And man, this feels good. I can feel that hide glue there. It's sticky, which is all right because I'm going to use fish glue, and it will bond. Yeah, it feels great. Fish glue will bond with the hide glue. It's an animal glue, so it'll bond with the glue that's already on the top. Man, it'll stick really good. All right. That's a nice bridge plate. I mean, it's aftermarket. I can tell it's not stock because they bevel the edges here, which Martin never bevels the edges. So it fit really good. Good looking plate. It's just the execution of the hide glue it's tough. The bridge came off easy too. It was glued on with hide glue, and it was 3/4 off when I started on it. The trick with getting the hide glue loose on the bridge is just a lot of heat and a lot of water. You know, let it soak. Get the water in there, get it warm, take the heat off a little bit, just let it soak, and it'll soften up the glue, and then you can pop it off pretty good. So I got to make a decision about that. You know, it's stiffening up now that it's drying out. I don't think I'm going to put a spruce plate. I'm gonna be aware of that when I put the bridge plate in. And this is likely the bridge that I'm going to use. It's Madagascar rosewood. It's fairly dark. It looks good with the fingerboard. I'm going to show you where it needs to be. And I have a pretty extensive little scar to cover up here, but at this point, cosmetics are null on this guitar, you know. Here's our bridge. It's going to go about right there. And I'm going to get my yardstick out. I got rid of the wooden yardstick that I bought and I had been using because it was warped. it was curved this way, and it was giving me false readings when I ran it down the neck here. And the only reason I got it was because it makes you guys more comfortable for me to flop a wooden yardstick down here, but it was warped, and so I went back to this. I don't know what this is. This is plasticized or metallicized plastic or whatever. But I'm going to lay it on here, and it ought to be just over 11 1/8. And actually, here, I swear, I think this fingerboard is A. There's 11 1/8. I'm going to lay the other edge of it right in the middle of the 12th fret. And this is where my bass string is going to go. Then we get the camera. Now that I got it balanced. That's what I'm talking about. And come down here and you see the B mark. That's where the bass, the middle of the saddle is going to be on the bass side. And that looks about right. Let's move over to the C side. And I'm going to double check this. I'm just getting a quick measurement there. And the T is going to be about right there. So it'll extend forward. This bridge could go back a little bit further because the treble side needs to be pretty close to the leading edge of that bridge. Surprisingly close. Let's see. I'm just taking more measurements here. You can never... I like to calculate and double check my measurements out. So I'm going to check this again. And this says the bridge should go forward. But the saddle marks say the bridge should go back a little bit more. And so that's why that would be acceptable. That's why I wonder if the fingerboard has been changed. I'm suspicious. Let's measure to the 12th fret this way. And it's 12. I did this already on the other video, and I swear I thought it was normal. And I did the same thing. I said, man, something's not adding up right here, you know? The corner of the body to the front of the bridge, and then the measurement from the fret to the bridge is suspect. They're not adding up. So something is funky on this, and I got another guitar, which I have a guitar sitting right there. And we're looking at, from the nut, 12 and 5/8 to the 12th fret. 12 and 5/8 to the 12 and 5/8 to the 12th fret. I've got it on video. Okay, this is a D35. It has a broken headstock. And the owner said, well, it's been good for 30 years, but I took it out of the case, and that crack was open. So might as well take the opportunity to fix it, you know? So 12 and... yeah, this is further. Look at this. From the nut to the 12th fret. So it's on the nut. We're going over here and right in the middle of the 12th fret. And there's the 8th mark. So it's past that 8th mark. Got it? Got a good look at that? So there's the half. And I'm just doing this myself many times. There's the half, and there's an 8th past the half. And this one is on the front of that. And this one, at the nut, boom. There's the half, and there's the 8th. And look at that, that fret is actually forward a little bit. So, the other one was right here. It's hard to look through the camera and see. The other one was right there. The other fret was right in between these two. This is short. Okay? So, there's a little bit of our mystery. I'm not sure the fingerboard has been shortened. by someone, but it seems like it is a little bit of a short fingerboard. Makes me wonder. I'm wondering if somebody replaced the fingerboard to shorten up the scale, because that is a thing. You know, John Arnold does that sometimes. I have never done it. The problem is this fingerboard's got some wear in it. It's got some divots over here, and this sure looks like the original markers. I mean, it looks like an original fingerboard to me. And there's no way you could modify a fingerboard, because even if you, well, let me think. You could remove a fingerboard and shorten it up at the nut. You could shorten it up here and slide the whole fingerboard, and you would have the same distance between it, but the whole fingerboard would be shifted forward, so it would be like a nut compensation, basically. That is a possibility. But I don't see any evidence of it. I'm looking for, you know, a line right here. Now, why would they do that? I can see it on the 70s, but this is the 60s, and it ought to be in tune. This finish is really thick on the back of the neck. It might have been refinished at one time. Let me show you. See right here? The finish is flaked off, and so you can see it. It's thick. But I have seen other 60s like this too that had this thick finish on here. So I'm just trying to solve this mystery and get the bridge in the right place. And I know what we're going to have to do. The bridge had to come off anyways because it was the wrong kind of wood, and the bridge plate wasn't stuck on. So I'm okay with taking that off. You know, had I just worked with what's there. So far I've done no damage to the guitar. I haven't done anything changed. The bridge plate was not stuck on. The bridge was coming off. Both of those had to come off anyway. So we want to know where to put our new bridge. And I'm looking to solve this mystery. I don't see any evidence that that fingerboard was ever taken off. You know, nothing obvious. I'm not saying that it wasn't. A little bit of a glue line here, but again, why would they do that on the 60s? Maybe they got the year wrong. Yeah. Mystery. The scale definitely seems like it's shorter though. 12th fret is closer to the nut than it was on that other guitar, which means that this should have to be closer. I'm puzzled. Wish I would have checked that before I took the bridge plate out, because I can put a bridge plate in there, but it's not going to have the holes in it. I guess I could just clamp that back in there. In other words, what I can do here, I can take the original bridge, and I can set it back on here. I'm thinking out loud here, okay? And I did this the other day, similar thing to this. It worked pretty good, so I might use it here again too. Okay, so let's do this for a second. Let's put the bridge plate back in here, just for fun. We're going to set the bridge on here. We're going to put a pin in here. We're going to put a second pin over here. We're going to do a mock-up. Hold them together. Do I have a saddle for this guitar? Might be the saddle rattling around in there. Let's see how this one fits. Too big. Not fitting in the slot. There's a shim in there. Another chisel here. Huh. Glued down. No matter. It's just interesting. Let's see if I can get that saddle out of there. There it is. Okay. All right. Set that on there. Let me get a clamp. I'm gonna clamp everybody up here. Yeah, one clamp will do. And all I'm doing is giving the bridge plate, or giving the ball ends of the string something to work on here. So they're going to sit on the bridge plate, so they're not going to pull through the top or anything. They're still on the bridge plate. Nothing's fastened, and I'm going to check the intonation here. I've got to get some strings. All right, we'll be right back. Okay, so that's why I didn't string it up and check the intonation and check everything when it came in, because it didn't have any strings on it. So I threw my measurement sticks on there, and they didn't agree. You know, something was going, they didn't agree with each other, which is why I use redundant checks. Because I want them to agree. Everything ought to agree. And it didn't agree. And I said, something's not right here. So then we stopped, rather than just blindly gluing the bridge onto some measurement. So I'm going to put a string on here. I think that's really all we need. Just the low E at this point. And then I need my tuner. Strobe Tuner Pro. I pointed this out in my last video. This is a good app. Set it right there. I'm going to check the intonation. That's a G sharp perfectly. You got to get it to some note. Yeah, that's what it is. Way sharp. You can probably hear that part. You know, here's an harmonic. A little bit flat. Let's bring it up. There we go. And that's probably about 5 cycles sharp. Okay, so that means it's too far forward, so that's good. Now, how far back do we need to go? I'm gonna take this out. Take this out. Take the saddle out. Get the saddle out of there. And we're going to make us a saddle. I'm going to get a measurement here for my yardstick. So I need a piece of wood. It's going to stand in as a saddle. Hopefully I can get it far enough back. Might not be able to, because it's so thick. I need something thinner. Here's a piece of wire. Let's see if we can get that up a little bit. I'll show you what this looks like. And it's wanting to pull forward, so I got to get it scooted back pretty hard here. Okay. What I'll do is I'll put this piece of wire under here. and I made a saddle contact point that's on the back of the actual saddle slot. So I scooted it back quite a bit. Let's see what it looks like. Intonation wise. G sharp again. Pretty close. Closer. Okay, you got that? Two sockets sharp. Two sockets sharp. One socket sharp. Two. 0 and 1. Just about 1. 1. That's pretty close, okay? It's close enough for this purpose. So now I'm going to get my yardstick out here real quick. And this is where the contact saddle point needs to be. And it's right in front of where I need to be, or where I usually am. So my yardstick is here, and I usually am right here on that B, and it needs to be right here, right behind that B. That's where that piece of wire is right now, right there. Okay? So when I cut the saddle slot, I need to cut it to that measurement, no matter what happens. Okay? So thank you, little piece of wire. And that's how we solved our problem of the mysterious bridge. I don't really care what's going on up here. I just want to get that bridge in the right spot. So now, given that, let's get all this off of here. Given that, contact point needs to be right here behind this saddle. So basically I need to move, I don't want to cut a slot there, obviously. I want to move the saddle slot back. So I need to move it back that much. So now I'm going to... The GoPro battery ran out because I used the front camera all the time. And then when I tried to charge it and put it on the charger, it said it was over hot. It was too hot. So it's over there cooling off. So I had to switch to this other camera, and I can't get it far enough back to get this in here. Anyway, this is where we're at. I'm not sure where the GoPro ended, so we're going to get this. Okay, so what I found out before I move this bridge, I know that I want to move the saddle slot back about a 1/16 of an inch. It needs to go to the back of the slot. So I want to measure this on the body, and I'm at 11 1/16 of an inch right now. So when this bridge moves back to 11 1/8 like it normally should, everything is going to be right. So, good deal. Now, so that means the pinholes are off, everything's off. So it's got to move back about the distance I think it needs to move back. But I verified that. And it's going to be just a little bit shorter. It's going to be just a little bit shorter than if it was a 70s. So 70s really goes at the back of that 11 1/8 mark. So it really goes about 11 and, see, an eighth would be 2/16, almost 3/16. But this one's going to be right here at the 1/8 of an inch mark. So this is going to come back to here. It's got a little hide glue on it, so it's sticking pretty good. It's going to go about right there. We're going to use this measurement, and it's going to go again in the middle of that, where it normally went. And that's going to do it right there. Okay, so that's normal. That all looks good. This is where the new bridge is going to go. There's the camera. Here it is. That's where it's going to go. It's going to have that much scar in the front. It's going to look pretty much like a 70s. So, but the whole point of this, well, first of all, we started off by taking the bridge plate off, and I was happy that bridge plate was not stuck on there very well, and it came off very easily, and I was super happy about that. And you got to see that on camera. And then we went ahead and we started solving the mystery of where this bridge should go, because a couple of things were not agreeing with each other, so we got to the bottom of that to figure out what was going on. The scale is a little bit shorter, a little bit. By the time it gets down here to the bridge, that distance, that compensation is not as much. And so I'm just going to be careful not to scoot this bridge as quite as far back as I was on the 70s. It's going to go right here, and it should be good. So I'm going to have a little bit of a scar there to clean up. And we're good. And I can tell by looking down here at the pinholes, they're off by probably about 1/8 of an inch. Not a terrible lot, but they're off a little bit. Definitely enough that we were justified in taking the bridge plate out, which was loose anyways. And I thought it was loose when I was looking at it, because it looked like that back half of it was not snug. It came off ridiculously easy. So I'm going to go ahead and pop a new bridge plate in here, because I do think this is stiffened up acceptably. Yes, that's not nearly as soft as it was a little bit ago. This isn't chewed up bad, and I'm going to be using Luther's Mercantile glue, and I will clean up the seat before I do it. It's going to have pin dowels in here to clean those out, but it's only going to clean up just a little bit of it. It's going to get a new bridge plate, black locust, and that'll be stiffer anyways. I think we're good to go on this guitar. I'm going to put a bridge plate in it and make a new bridge for it. I'm going to use that Madagascar rosewood, but I still got to drill the pinholes. And I also should ask the owner if he wants to go with 2 1/4 inch spacing or 2 1/8 of an inch spacing. It's a little bit of a narrow looking fingerboard. I think we're going to stick with 2 1/8, which is fine. Yeah, we're probably going to stick with 2 1/8 because this fingerboard looks a little narrow. The guitar is going to get new frets. These frets are in bad shape. So, I got my work cut out, and I know what I'm going to do. So you got to watch a bridge plate come out in real life. The first one from Los Alamos, you got a little bit of a history of Los Alamos, and we solved the problem. And I'm confident in this guitar. It's looking good. Got some other issues that need to be fixed, but it's going to be a good sounding guitar when we get done. So we shall see you later.